Hello and welcome to Campaign Comrades. We hope you are all strong and fortified and brave today because we have the need for speed.
Is that what Forza means?
Yeah, it's like brave. It's like it has a lot of meanings. But yeah, like strength.
Is that the like etymology of the Forza title?
Force or strength. It's an Italian word.
You need to be, strong of heart to
play.
race these cars.
To be doing driving sims.
You have to have the right amount of fascism within you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Italian cars were built in the fascist parts, not our southern Italians, my comrades, my paisanos. But yeah, we are talking about racing games today. We have the need for speed. We are going too fast and too furious. Gran Turismo, all the names. Anyone know any of the mobile games? I don't know. Assetto, that's another one.
Asphalt.
Yep, that's another one. Yeah, so mobile racing games, guys. I know I'm the only one here that enjoys them. So I'm just gonna open it to you guys and your general thoughts. How you feel about racing games?
All right, so I'm of two minds. There's like the sicko racing games, which are the Sims, and like I have no business or enjoyment being there.
Yeah.
And then there's like
you
the
don't have a
fun.
fourth chair with pneumatic actuation.
Take an actual like car dashboard and put your sim gear in there.
The sim life that I could get into are like the long haul trucking ones where they literally build a sleeper cab in their house. Every window, is a monitor panel. That's sick.
For that.
That's cool.
They got a little bed.
Getting an air brake set up in your room.
Oh yeah, with the sounds and all.
But my whole thing with the sim side of things is like, if you're going to drop that kind of money on a full, immersive sim rig, just buy a nice car. Go actually drive a car.
You can just go buy track time and borrow cars at the track.
It's like
But they're just pussies. That's why.
It's the same cost. I don't really know. Yeah, why do that?
I mean, for a lot of those people, it's less about the what they're getting out of it and more about the building it themselves, building their
kit with a car.
That's part of it.
Those people also tend to be car people who work on their own cars too.
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
This allows them to race on courses they can't usually get.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like I'm pulling my knowledge from like the Gran Turismo movie, right? And that it's all about how he's got more track time on this specific track than half the racers who are actually there
until 4 a.m.
No, that was gonna be my other point, is that actually when it comes to cost, I think you're underestimating how much time these people are playing this game, because it'd be like thousands and thousands more for track time. Track time is not cheap. You're talking like a couple $100 an hour for most tracks, at least in the minimal research I've done, because I do sometimes want to go fast.
Me too.
That sounds fun.
Mama, I want to go fast.
And so if
you find a good deal, I'm down.
I generally, have zero interest in anything beyond like a Mario Kart. That's like the most I actually get into, like a race.
Or the Hot Wheels. We forgot about Hot Wheels.
That was okay
for a moment.
That had issues where it was just a microtransaction minefield.
So bad. Oh god, so many microtransactions.
I like the idea because I love Hot Wheels, but I intellectually can think it would be cool to try out driving in like one of those full simulation things. It would be cool, but and just because I'm never going to, drive a race car, that would be the closest that I could get if I could like try someone else's, because I'm also not going to put the money into building my own rig. If I had the opportunity, if I had the opportunity to use a full sim rig, I would take that opportunity because I would think it was cool, but I would never dedicate my, my gaming time, my exclusive gaming time to hardcore sim racing,
hobby time in general. But I think that that's an interesting point, because I was thinking about just racing games in general and kind of the evolution of them. And in that scenario, it's almost like you're going to the arcade and hopping on like the old school, sim, arcade racing games, or you're in the seat, steering wheel, or on the bike. So that, that would have a nostalgia hit, probably, at the very minimum.
Matt, what's the name of the mini game in Final Fantasy VII where you get on? Do you remember?
Off the top of my head, remember?
Where it's
I
like
do.
You replay like the escape from Midgar, and it's fun as hell.
Oh shit, that's cool. That's cool. I'm conflicted. I actually think that like racing games have a pretty important, or played an important role in my early, more formative years as a gamer.
Well, and that's something I wanted to bring up. I don't mean to cut you off, but
No, go ahead.
that was one big thing I wanted to point out, was like the PS2 era, like Xbox 360 era.
That's just Xbox, PS2, Xbox.
Yeah, sorry, Xbox. But yeah, and it bled into 360 and PS3, I guess. But yeah, those generations of consoles had a bunch of Need for Speed games. Midnight Club, it had Gran Turismo, but like in its early days, it was like Gran Turismo 2. And there's still Need for Speed games, but they don't have the like cultural cachet that I don't know if that's the right word, but like that they did in those generations when we were younger. And maybe it was just because we were younger and noticing them more, but like now shooting games or like Fortnite type games have kind of replaced, I think, this generation.
Even like Call of Duty, I think, like, because you're right, there was a time where like the new Need for Speed game releases were pretty big, but that's all pre Modern Warfare 2. And like once Modern Warfare 2 happened,
shooters,
Call of Duty just completely took over that space.
Did those games have social elements?
Need for Speed?
No, because it's pre the major online shift. We're talking like 03, 04.
PS2 had internet access.
It did. No, for sure. But that wasn't the draw of
of
PS2 games.
But it was more like there wasn't necessarily couch co-op in all of them. And some of the like sim games there are, not so much the Need for Speed, because there is like a story quote there.
But even like they still had couch co-op. Like I remember some of them, playing there was like arcade. 2.
Yeah, they would have arcade gameplay where you could do, but it also just had the like couch co-op of like, okay, let me do one race, hand it off to my friend to do another race, and like race until you lose or whatever. It had like that ability without like fucking up your game.
So where do you take the connection though between that kind of racing fan and first person, like a Modern Warfare 2 first person shooter? What is it about the type of person that I don't exactly know? I don't quite follow.
I don't even know if it was like a personal thing or like more just the industry.
It's industry. It's culturally. Like you're also like it kind of aligned with the very beginning of the Fast and Furious franchise, which at that point in time was about car racing and cars like stealing.
I also think there's a little bit of, you're looking at it through the lens of your perspective of, at that point in time, you couldn't drive cars. So the only way you could get to experience any of this was through a racing game.
No, for sure. Whereas, like, and that's why
the way I look at it is like, pretty much my entire life I've had my license. Would I rather sit here and hold a controller and drive a car around, or would I rather take my car on the highway and go 120 and feel it shake uncontrollably?
Yeah. No, and I understand
you left out that you're doing that, Edward Scissorhands style with 40s taped to your hands.
Yeah, blind at night. No, but the point more is not our personal, desires to play video games, but just like culturally, like what was advertised.
That's what I was saying, though, is like we're looking at it from the cultural perspective of people who were at the PlayStation 2 era underage, and
for sure, but there's still
realm and view of everything.
Are racing games pre 9/11 coded? Is that what it is?
Yes, 100%. I mean, more definitely pre 9/11 coded, but really like pre Osama being assassinated coded, because like that's when Modern Warfare is like, what, 2009? So the assassination's what, 2012? Or maybe 2010, yeah. But
it was 2012.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was spring 2012.
Yeah, it was May 2012. I knew
I'll never forget when John Cena broke the news.
That is a great.
My campus was lined with kegs on the UP.
Yeah, I'm sure.
yeah. The big
Some
day,
shots
big day
went
there.
off in the Bronx. But yeah, no, but it's just like Need for Speed games aren't a big thing anymore. Like even I think part of it also is GTA is so popular at that time, and for some children that wanted to like drive around and do hood rat things couldn't.
Well, I
in
was thinking
GTA.
I was just thinking that like the biggest kind of car pulling game nowadays is your GTA. It's not a racing game, but like
Yep.
you can still have
And
that kind of
Cyberpunk has the
art.
best driving in gaming
Yeah,
now.
Cyberpunk would be another. I mean,
I
but
give
it is a
I give real Night City fact checkers give that 2 thumbs down too.
But yeah, no, I think part of it was like everyone wanted to play GTA, you couldn't. Need for Speed, those games in particular, or like Midnight Club, are, you don't get to run around shooting people, but it's GTA light in a sense of like
When
the
was
driving.
Need for Speed's last release?
They still release them. They released one
And I say, when was it? Like, I completely flew under my
2017?
radar.
the next.
It's like 2020, I
Yeah, it
think.
was gonna
I
be
was
for
looking in the
2021.
PlayStation Store. Yeah, it's like 2020 or 2021.
I have it on Steam.
Because like Forza,
2022 there was one, Need for Speed Unbound. They still release one like at least every 2 years. A Need for Speed game. I'm looking at it. 2010 there was 2. There was 2 in 2011, 2012, 13, 2 in 2015, 2017, 19, 2020, and 22.
It's almost their own undoing, is just oversaturation at that point.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like I played Midnight Club 2 Drift Edition fucking for years, and like I think they only had 3 iterations of it. The original Need for Speeds that I played, I don't know the name of them now. Hot Pursuit was probably one of them.
Yeah, Hot Pursuit and Hot Pursuit 2 were like the
Yep.
2 biggest ones in like 2000, 2002 timeframe. It's actually Hot Pursuit 2 is like one of the first real video games I had that wasn't on handheld. It was a PC. I had the disc. I played the shit out of that game. And Mike, you're not wrong about the GTA aspect, because that in particular had a big mechanic of the game is that the cops chase you.
Yeah,
which was awesome because you could force them to spin out and wreck. And it's still like, I still get an occasional like hunger pang to wreck a cop car in Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2.
Yep.
And I have no avenue to do it. It's so frustrating.
Well,
but
You absolutely have an avenue to do it.
Yeah,
You
they
just
do.
don't want to go to jail.
I mean, you have it in. You could do it in Need for Speed because I think they had a Hot Pursuit in like 2016 or something.
No,
like that.
they released one from. This is actually the game I paid $3 for it a couple weeks ago for this episode. It's like Heat, Need for Speed Heat, I think, or something like that.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. I'm looking at it right now.
It's hilarious. The cops are very corrupt, and it's got a very anti-cop stance, which is pretty awesome. But like, the gameplay just wasn't clicking.
Yeah,
for me.
I started playing it, and I was like, this is too much. Just get me in the car.
Yeah.
Like, there was too much at the beginning, and you can't like spam through. But so
If I want to control a car with a controller, I'll just go to work.
Well, I don't have that luxury. I deal with words all day. One
Skill
thing
issue.
I was thinking about, like the oversaturation, was Forza Horizon. So their open world driving game where there's no cars or no cops chasing you. It's just like you're at a racing festival and you're doing different races.
Is it like Race Island or something like that?
Yeah, essentially. The way that they've done it, so there's only been 5 so far, and it's been like over a decade now that they've been
They
releasing
basically just
them.
alternate Motorsport and Horizon launches.
Yeah, but also in the Horizon launch, like they'll add DLC stuff. So they actually have a Hot Wheels DLC. They have like a Lego DLC each year, like each iteration. And so saying this to also kind of shift the conversation into like the monetization of these games, because I also think one of the like downfalls of it and why they're not popular so much anymore, even though it's something that we hate, there's minimal microtransactions in a lot of these games. Like in Horizon, for example, other than the DLCs, which are partial games, they're full DLCs, there's like very few cars that you could buy. and like car packs. There's maybe like 5 of them in each game, and that's pretty much all you could buy outside of the DLCs and then those car packs. So they're not, I don't know if it's like a chicken or the egg of like we've gotten so ingrained that the children just, like they yearn for the mines, they yearn for microtransactions to spend their parents' credit card money, but or if it's just like the actual developer.
It's not necessarily just a children thing with
Well, no, I know. I'm
microtransactions.
just
Usually
making
it's
a joke.
actually appealing to people who want a tangible benefit from being able to put money into it.
Yeah, but
Be
so
like, I paid $10 and got a car that is just substantially faster than what you have in base games, so I am a better player than you now because of my money.
But it's not even that, because
that just but that belies the whole, people, the thing that drives microtransaction are cosmetics. And this is coming from the Overwatch player.
Yeah,
who didn't engage in it themselves. But that's what the community is all about, is buying. They don't care. It's not about, game performance. People cry about, pay to win type of shit. It's all about,
and there's so many cars.
How can I make my player or my car sexier?
Yeah,
right.
Because there's so many cars in Forza Horizon that like you don't have to engage with the packs. I'll
say it's astounding to me that they don't do that, because it is one of
all of the customization is free.
It's one of the clearest implementations of it, right? It's like I lock the paint job system behind a paywall.
They did that for Halo.
I lock decals.
That's not a racing game.
I lock kits. I lock.
And
so the point of referencing Halo is the same company.
Yeah, but the point being, think that customization in car games has been so ingrained since the beginning that they either just never had the idea to capitalize on that fact and make it and monetize.
No, I think they're afraid to.
It. Yes, or they were afraid
because it's the only franchise for them that sells relatively consistently, and doing something like that in a new launch would probably hurt their overall.
I'm talking across racing video games, period, because Need for Speed, it's the same thing.
At this point, it's pretty much just Forza and Gran Turismo are the only two ubiquitous racing games.
But again, just even the progression from like the pre 9/11 era, style Midnight Club, like there's never been a point in any of the games throughout their popularity, and even when microtransactions have become popular, where they have capitalized on the fact that they could just milk people for, the skins, the changing the color, rims, hood decals. Like it's
lock like iconic cars like James Dean Deathmobile, lock that behind
or even like you have the 1969 Ford Mustang, and you lock a skin to have the Gone in 60 Seconds Eleanor version or some shit. Like there's so much that they could do that they didn't, and I find it interesting, and for whatever reason it is, whether they were afraid to lose whatever fan base they had, whether they just didn't think to capitalize on it, didn't think that it would make enough money and they could just I don't know.
It's their willingness to offer long-term support, right? Because a premium price game that has all that stuff baked in and there are no extra monetization, it requires less updating, requires less. The key to the model of microtransactions is giving more things to buy, creating more microtransactions, and making sure that their addition doesn't brick the game, right? They're like, oh, I put this kit on the car and now it only drives backwards.
But even with the longevity of it, of like, that Forza 4 lasted like 5 years before the next one, or 3 years, something like that, longer than a normal game that has a number next to it that's going to be or like a Call of Duty that's coming out each year.
Yeah, they're not annual releases.
They're not annual releases, so they have the ability to be like, okay, this came out in 2022, we're 2024 Ferrari releases a new car.
What I could expect then is to do like DLC packs. Right, and
that's a lot of what the car packs are. Or like they got the license to Mitsubishi and they didn't like have that for a while, so that became a pack that you could buy the Mitsubishi cars.
I just want to point out the Forza launch schedule Forza Motorsport 1, 2005, Motorsport 2, 2007, Motorsport 3, 2009, Motorsport 4, 2011, then the first Horizon in 2012, then Motorsport 5 in 2013, Horizon 2 in 2014, Motorsport 6 in 2015,
Those are
Horizon
two
3 in
different games. I'm
2016,
talking
Motorsport
about
7 2017, Horizon 4 2018, Forza Street 2019, Nothing 2020, Horizon 5 2021, and then
So they have very much moved to a Call of Duty model, whereas
But
instead of like basically, well, maybe they have multiple teams, but like, you know, Call
But
of
I
Duty
also look at it as
swapped
two different
studios
types
and
of games. Like Call of Duty, whether, you know, it might be a different war, but it's a shooter game. Whereas one, like the Motorsport, is a true sim where you're just driving on racing tracks, and Horizon is an open world game with an open world racing game.
I was just pointing out that from 2011 to 2018, they didn't miss a year with a game release.
Yeah, it's more than I thought, but
me too. But I
knew they were semi-annual.
It's dropped off though. Like when was the
Forza
last
Street
one?
2019, Nothing 2020, 2021
Street
Horizon
is.
5, and then 2023 has Forza Motorsport Customs,
which I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, they're doing some spin-off stuff. It is interesting though, because to your point though, of all of the gaming genres, this one does lend itself to a live service model in a way that like first-person shooters might not lend themselves nearly well.
More akin to 2K. Updated rosters, like updated, you know, car models, new jerseys being, you know, the skins on the cars or whatever. You know, they could make it new cars come out every year. They could make it an annual thing. They could even just, you know,
really copy the 2K model and incorporate a huge My Career mode where you spend 50% of your gameplay not in the car answering PR questions.
Yeah. Like,
gotta do those press
they kind of have that in Horizon.
I'm the fourth man at Le Mans, you know.
There is an F1 game, so that probably does have some of those concepts.
Yeah. What about the F1 manager games where you're not actually? I don't actually think you're racing. You're just
you're not.
Hit manager.
No, thank you.
That sounds more fun to me.
But and then even
because it's more artistic coded.
Yeah. Even the fact that racing games have they have a pretty big mobile pool of games, and some that have been around for a while that are pretty popular. Asphalt, Assetto. I think it's Assetto.
I love that's how you pronounce asphalt, which may actually be the proper pronunciation.
How do I pronounce it? Asphalt.
You put asphalt, asphalten.
Maybe it's because I was going into the Italian accent for Assetto Corso. But like fucking microtransactions in mobile games. And I'm not as familiar with those. I'm sure there are some, or you know, more microtransactions than in the console versions of games, but like, you know, that's another place that's ripe for it. Fucking dinguses.
Can you imagine playing a arcade racer on your kid's sticky iPad
and spending money to buy the James Bond skin for the
touch
Aston
controls?
Martin.
Thank you. Touch control driving.
People do it.
What are the major mobile racing games?
Asphalt and Assetto Corso.
Oh, I thought those were just regular games. I didn't know.
I think Assetto has a console PC
both
version.
On consoles as well.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
I know
about
Asphalt's on Switch,
and there's a couple other. There's other more. You've also got ones.
There's an interesting topic here to be discussed around, like The Crew with Ubisoft.
Oh, I forgot about The Crew,
which was the game that caught them a lot of flack when they shut servers down, and basically told people, "You paid for this game, and
it's gone.
That's it, finite, it's done."
You have never owned any of the games you've bought from us ever.
Oh, those are ours. We lent them to you.
Licensing.
I mean, any game that's entirely server based is that way exactly.
Dude, I'm looking at a list of the top mobile racing games, or the best 24 racing games on mobile in 2025, and there's things like Does Not Commute, Vroomies.
Yeah,
Vroomies.
Those are like the super
Disney
arcadey ones.
Speedstorm.
Hell yeah.
The kart racer.
That one's microtransaction related.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
those are all in a separate category.
No way, it's not. It says at the bottom of the Disney one, it says the monetization isn't perfect.
Isn't perfect.
Because I remember that one was showed off at I believe it was a Nintendo Direct, because it was also coming to consoles. And then when the game actually launched, people were like, yeah, this is like Mario Kart if it was made by an actual soulless evil corporation.
Would you rather pay $90 for the game up front, or $500 to unlock every single racer through microtransactions?
Every Disney character.
I unlock Mrs. Incredible, and does she ride a motorcycle?
She's only unlockable after you've unlocked everyone else.
All right, so I talked about a little of the nostalgia around racing games, but I want to talk about the more arcadey games, because I feel like it's something that we don't really get anymore. And I'm specifically talking about the Burnout series more than anything else, because I want to give a shout out to Burnout. They were ahead of their time. It was a game purely based around essentially causing the largest car accident you possibly could, and just doing damage, and that's how you got better scores outside of like racing. And they were fantastic. They remastered Burnout Paradise about
2018 it says.
Yeah, it's almost 10 years ago now.
Years ago.
And it's good. It's a lot of fun, but this is my call to action to bring back Burnout games. I want to purposefully blow up an oil tanker that then explodes and hits a school bus. There's nothing else like it. We need it back. Please bring us Burnout. So that's my plea.
Yeah, any arcade game
series
where you could take damage to your car and it's only cosmetic damage, and everywhere else takes damage, like true damage.
So much fun.
So much fun. That's Forza Horizon, like that. The Need for Speed games, you could do that.
My other seminal racing game memory that I wanted to discuss was, I don't know if anyone else ever did this. I actually had a friend in elementary school who didn't have like a rig, but they had the steering wheel and pedals.
Ben had the steering wheel pedals for Gran Turismo.
I had it for Xbox.
And I had
used it like twice.
All right,
I never used it because it didn't work.
I mean, at that point in time, they were pretty shitty plastic.
Yeah. They were trash.
They sucked. It sucked.
And they were like $200.
I mean, you can still buy shitty plastic ones today for like $50 to $100.
Yeah, but then it was like $200, and it was like Xbox or
I couldn't tell you.
I
couldn't tell you why I had it. I don't know what I got it for.
Specifically to play other games with a steering wheel for challenge runs.
I don't know.
I'm playing Dark Souls 1 with my steering wheel.
Because I don't think it came with like
no,
360.
No, it didn't come.
No, you bought it for a game.
No, the only games back then that came with peripherals like that were the Rock Stars and the Guitar Heroes.
Yeah, okay, so they had the peripherals, and we would play the Daytona 500 NASCAR game.
That's hilarious. And
I would get Dale Earnhardt Jr. and just immediately start driving backwards just to cause as I possibly could.
Nice.
And that's my other.
Were you
Burnout,
subliminally doing that
real
because it was
great.
Junior and you were trying to have him go meet Senior?
Yeah, complete the family.
So if we're talking about nostalgia, I'm gonna bring up my favorite racing game series, and it was Midnight Club. I've said it multiple times, but was definitively
there was even a little bit of a Midnight. Are you a Midnight Club or a Need for Speed rivalry back in the day at one point in time?
And Midnight Club was Rockstar fucking knew what they were doing with these games. They stopped making them in 2009 on the PS3 and the 360, and we've not gotten one since, and it's sad. It's truly sad. I played a lot of Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix. That was my game. Rockstar San Diego, the developer, shouts out. I changed colors on a lot of cars. I bought a lot of cars. I raced a lot of cars, crashed a lot of cars. It was just the best, the fucking soundtrack. Okay, here's another thing about racing games, specifically like open world ones and, these like cop chase, GTA Light ones. Soundtracks, incredible. Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix had it rivals Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 for some of the best fucking music. There was 9 Inch Nails on that shit. You're a fucking teenager, like headbanging, drifting corners in your fucking Mitsubishi Lancer, 05.
They also had hip hop. Hip hop was a big part of the Midnight Club series.
which not a lot of other games had at that point. So shouts out to them. They had fucking, a lot of the music I found was through that game, to be honest. Like, I would be playing that game and then bopping over to LimeWire and just fucking downloading that shit.
Completely infecting your family's computer
Yep.
with the worst viruses known to man.
Yeah, I never downloaded
Leaking your
porn.
family's personal information to servers in Bulgaria.
Yep. Never porn on LimeWire, though. Didn't have good enough speeds for that. Only 3-minute songs.
The soundtracks were good. I don't remember if the Need for Speed.
They did. They had pretty good music. All the Need for Speeds. Even Forza now has decent music. You could also like connect your Spotify through them. A lot of the games, so you could just make your own soundtrack, which I think is also a cool feature. But yeah, because hip hop was a big part of it, more like alternative music. It wasn't just like pop songs or like background music, or orchestral music in a video game.
Yes. I love to listen to orchestral music while I'm driving.
No, I'm saying that it's not.
If it's Beethoven's Fifth or not, we riot.
Do you not listen to the Final Fantasy soundtrack while you drive? Have you never played that while you drive?
No, that's not driving music. That's work music.
Okay. We'll believe you.
Gormati Plains is driving music.
Hell yeah.
Followed by whenever
Like-
I pass a cop strategically playing the music when the big monkey chases you.
Mike, I have a question for you. Do you think there is because you like these more sim Forza games way more, like those are the games where I had Gran Turismo 2 because it came with the PlayStation 2 I got.
I don't like the true sim ones.
Okay, you don't. All right.
No, I like the open world. I've played true sim ones, but I've never enjoyed them. Like Gran Turismo 2, I think it came with my PS2 Slim, and like I played that a good amount. And like I think I've played Forza Motorsports 2, but no, I've always preferred the open. Like I was a Midnight Club Need for Speed, and then when Forza Horizon came out, got into that because it was open world.
Do you
Talking
think
about all of these mid-racing games when we could be talking about Crash Kart, Mario
Crash
Kart,
Kart.
Diddy Kong Racing,
so?
Bloodborne Kart.
Do you think Bloodborne Kart? There we go. FromSoft finally actually sells out. It makes a kart game for Switch. That's next. Anyways, do you think that what attracts you to these games is similar to what attracts you to?
Yes, and it's similar to what attracts me to like the open world Assassin's Creed type games where I could just hop into the game, be in that world. I don't have to do a mission or anything. I could just run around killing people. I could just run around racing, going fast, fucking drifting turns, building up
Pokemon.
Yeah, exploring Pokemon, exploiting them, catching them. It's the same thing. I could be in and out. I don't have to like sit there. I could play for 15 minutes and not have to worry about did I like complete the mission or whatever. I could just like take my mind off. Like I did one race in Forza Horizon before we jumped on this, and I could literally jump in, do a race, get a dopamine hit, and then like go on to the next thing. And so yeah, Pokemon, these are open world racing games, Red Dead Redemption, same type of thing. I could just ride around on the horse for a bit, shoot some shit, like go hunting, bop out. Like it's a low commitment playing, because it's not locking into a mission. I'm not having to worry about a boss fight or whatever, or like the progression in the game. I'm just going into the game.
See, races always stress me the fuck out.
No, I'm good at them.
Whenever a game has a race section in it, I always bug the fuck out. So
Chocobo Racing.
One of the like similar things where it's like I fuck up one checkpoint, it's immediately
Yeah, but
pause,
Forza
restart,
has a
restart
rewind.
minigame.
Depended on the Chocobo race. The final Chocobo race, one mistake was enough to lose you the race.
Yeah, the last game I played that had like real driving elements in it was the first Mafia game. I played the remake.
Oh God.
I played the.
God, I hated the driving in that so much.
Did you play the remake?
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, it was on like a knife's edge of being realism and being very unfun and bad. Like the turning is just really kind of hard, and like you really have
GTA
to
is like that as well.
really, it's like it runs this really fine line. I was legitimately drifting. I was like legitimately doing like, turning hard and then turning into it so as to not spin out, which was so kind of cool. And like I eventually got a feel for it. But there's a segment in the game where the family has, put this money on this racer. You did this previous mission where you roughed up a rival, or you ruined his car. You sabotaged his car. But then the rival family, they found your racer and beat the shit out of him. So now you, as the family wheelman, get behind are the actual racer. And so I don't think you have to win the race to progress. I, of course, felt the need to win. And
because you had the need for speed.
I probably restarted it twice because I crashed in one
That's
element
not terrible.
and just like really got fucked up. But I did win. It was just so stressful. It's so stressful to me when I have those race bits in non-racing games.
And that's one
whether
thing
it be horse or buggy,
Yeah. And that's one thing about those, like in like GTA, as I said, is another one that is like that, where the race or like the driving is on this edge of realism, like the Need for Speed games, or
it's like Cyberpunk's driving. It's just like that bit kind
similar
of not
as well.
Fun.
Yeah, it's that similar thing. I think Cyberpunk's wasn't
driving
as
is only
bad
not
for me.
fun if you disobey all street rules and don't just follow traffic.
Yeah, and if you're driving the cars and not the bikes,
you stop at the reds, you put your turn signal on, you turn when it's appropriate,
and you got to use
civilians.
the bikes in that. But yeah, like GTA, I have a hard time driving because it's not the same like buttons, and like it doesn't react the same way that even the Forza open world, which has the same mechanics pretty much as Motorsport, just in, not always on a fenced in track, more likely than not a fenced in track like that, just street racing, sanctioned street racing, and real street racing. But yeah, I've always had trouble with non-driving games with their driving.
I think it's something that like you have to just for it to feel right, that the time you would have to spend fine-tuning it, I think just like ultimately isn't fully achievable when it's being built into such a larger game.
100%.
I just don't like I tend to not like the ones that don't commit one way or the other. You either need the bifurcation of sim and arcade racing, I think is actually really necessary. That you need either, hardcore real physics based driving, or it just needs to be completely fun and completely just limitless in a certain way that like it's
wacky with it.
That when it tries to, or when it can't fall on one or the other, it just ends up being bad in both ways.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And GTA and GTA clones are very much in that realm, where it's most complaints people will say is that it's like it's too arcadey but not arcadey enough.
Yep. No, for sure.
Complaining that way about Simpsons Hit and Run.
That one's an exception because that one is a pure arcade. The fact that I'm pretty sure there are arcade
copying the GTA style,
but I'm pretty sure there are legitimate arcade versions of those games.
There are.
It's such a good game. That was one of the best games.
I'm still on the lookout for a PS2 copy.
Is it on
retro
PS,
game store?
Whatever?
Plus, no. No, I wish. Probably
that's
too
a
much
licensing nightmare.
Yeah, I say probably too much licensing stuff.
100%.
Makes that impossible.
So another, like, not a true racing game, it's not a sim, but something that around the same time as like Midnight Club and all those, that PS2 era had my attention, that we don't see much at all anymore, was it MX versus ATV? Something motocross?
Yeah.
Okay, those are the type of games that would always pique my interest more, because it is the similar idea behind, can understand the appeal of simulation things. It's things that I wanted to do but never could and never would be able to. It's like
Jumping parents like 20 feet into the air, not
my parents were never going to buy me a dirt bike.
Yeah, and you were never going to be able to do flips and shit on it, even if they did.
Yeah.
I mean, you could exactly once.
And,
yeah.
And then immediately go to Valhalla. So is it worth it? Yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure people who die in motocross accidents don't go to Valhalla. I think that's one of the stipulations. Pretty sure you meet Mephisto when that happens.
But that was another style of game. Great soundtracks, because it's similar to a Tony Hawk Pro Skater, not just in the soundtrack, but in like the type of gameplay. So great soundtracks on it, and just fun, like pretty realistic mechanics for the PS2 generation, riding ATVs and motorbikes and like fucking, stunt tracks and, trick tracks. So it's fucking arcadey. Like that was another one. I could just go into a fucking, whatever. I don't forget what they called them. So they were like tournament type things because you're competing. Just fucking do one of those races, fucking hop out, have a blast, get a dopamine hit.
Yeah, we've really lost the extreme sports games.
Extreme sports in general aren't nearly as popular as they were in the early 2000s.
As soon as they introduced them to the Olympics, they lost their mystique.
Yep, because they weren't like
it's not even just that.
Anymore.
I mean, consider like the X Games used to be something you'd like put on TV to watch, but people don't really watch TV anymore that way. So you've lost the one thing that would kind of put eyes on the sport.
The death of cable, definitely hurt
for sure.
extreme sports.
Yeah, like now it's essentially like you still get winter extreme sports because you have the Winter Olympics, which bring views to snowmobiling, snowboarding, skiing.
Yeah, and snowboarding and skiing were already a white person thing that they were doing. So
they're also no longer. We're not winning as much in the extreme sports as we used to.
But
as a country.
like fucking SSX. Yeah, whatever. Tricky.
SXXXX.
Yeah, it's tricky to say. Like I had the board for the GameCube. I had like a fucking snowboard.
There's an SSX Tricky themed side level in Split Fiction. Andrew and I played recently, and that was a highlight.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like games like that where you could jump in, like they're not a huge commitment all the time. You could casually play them, have in an arcade style, like games.
Imagine thinking you could casually play SSX Tricky without getting gold on every course, beating every time trial, unlocking every character.
You could do
unlocking
that.
Every outfit, unlocking every board.
I'm not saying that you
every
can't
secret.
do that.
I was a slalom beast.
Yeah,
I sucked at that game.
Me too.
As much as I loved it, terrible.
I was really good at Tricky. SSX3 was okay.
But all those types of games, even the skateboarding games, it's something that, you could fucking beat every level. You could be a master of it, but it's something you could just throw on for 15 minutes, fucking play, and then get out.
Which were like the more comedic Tony Hawk games? I don't even know if they were Tony Hawk. I just remember the one where
there was
like
skate.
Not
3.
skate, but it's like where you chase and you find Ben Franklin while you're skate.
That's Tony Hawk Underground.
It's underground. It's underground.
Yeah.
It's underground.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
because the pro games had plenty of weird things like that.
Yeah,
I remember in Underground there was this one level.
I remember that level.
I think it's like you must be like in Pennsylvania.
In Philly,
yeah, and you're like. Well, there's one bit where you crash through a window and you chase and you find Ben Franklin, but then there's this like extra hidden bit that you have to, in a certain time trial, you have to grind down these cannons to light their fuses, and they will
shoot them off.
They will shoot cannonballs and open up like a hidden area.
And
I love that game. I love that game.
These types of games have like room for fun Easter eggs and little like hidden things like that because they're like these arcadey games. It's not, it's not that video games are necessarily serious, but like it's not like Elden Ring that is a more like serious game that you're with a story and stuff.
One could say that any FromSoft game is just a game of Easter eggs, and that's it.
Yeah, yes, but in a different way.
Calling Kenneth Haidt a serious man. Hello.
But like you take that game, you as the player will like take that game more seriously than just grinding around.
I mean, that depends on the player. The way
Obviously.
you go about playing racing games is the way that I go about jumping into Elden Ring and farming weapons for 3 hours.
Sure, and I'm not saying that certain people don't do it certain ways, but like this Elden Ring is not conducive.
He's more
of
playing
that.
it as a silly goose.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. As a silly goose.
Is using Rolano's Twin Moons not playing as a silly goose and dropping your balls to kill people?
So there's a little bit of silliness involved, and there are people who can play those games.
But that's a different, like,
they're a minority.
That level of silliness is like over here in like a very niche silliness category where I'm just talking about general. Anyone could appreciate.
What he's doing right now is he's making me the soy jack and himself the Chad Jack.
It's over. It's over. For I have shown you as the soy jack.
I think the death of co-op, like couch co-op, is to some extent also responsible for the death of these sorts of games as well. Like they do lend themselves to a more in-person social experience.
Even if they didn't have built-in couch co-op, it was more hand your controller to your friends.
Yeah, right, yeah, 100%.
Take your turn eating snacks.
But these games, like Forza Horizon has a live like there's you could interact with other players in the game and like race against them, through like the live online aspects of it.
Mike, do you know, or does anybody know which of the Forza versions is more successful, the sim or the arcade? Which one sells
I don't know
more
right
copies?
Now. I would say it's half dozen or the other, because you definitely get the sickos that love motorsport, but Horizon is like more general audience.
I think motorsport does sell a little bit.
That was what I wanted to say as well, and it's just been a longer running.
Yeah, it's
whatever. I can't think of the word.
It's a somewhat historic title.
Yeah.
The Google AI is telling me that Horizon is more popular, but
interesting.
I never trust that shit, so get that out of here.
Google AI is a liar. Do not trust him. Getting that tattooed on my body.
It's actually very difficult to find sales figures because this falls into the era of Microsoft stopping talking about how many things they've sold.
Yeah.
The most definitive thing I saw was sometime around 2018, 16 million copies sold.
Yeah, I see August 2019, Horizon 4 surpassed 12 million players and finally making it outperform
12 million
Motorsport.
players. There's the word again.
Yeah.
This is coming from a site called Auto Evolution. It says that this is of January 7th, 2025, that Forza Horizon 4 has 24 times more players than Motorsport.
It's also the most recent game.
Nope, 5 is.
No, 5 is more
recent. But 4 has been like more popular than 5 and has been, it still has a huge player base, obviously. What was I going to say? Well, I also think part of 4 becoming so popular. I wonder if they'll start talking about
sales with Horizon coming to PlayStation 5.
But one reason I think 4 did so well and allowed it to surpass Motorsport in that way was Game Pass.
Matt, you're probably right about that. They'll just break it out. They'll be like sales on PlayStation.
I mean, the raw statistics would indicate that when you're selling to a community of 70 million people versus selling to a community of 25 to 30 million people,
yeah, it's going to go up.
Even if you have a similar engagement level, you would have quite a bit higher jump in sales.
And I'm sure it will. I mean, Forza is arguably the better of the two between that and Gran Turismo.
I have no horse in that particular race.
I do. That's my one, I'm not a Sony pony on, but also like there is, people will say that is the better physics than.
As of 2022, the Gran Turismo series has sold more than 90 million units worldwide.
I know people often use Forza as like a benchmark for technical performance and, next gen, like their lighting was a big deal. It was like the real-time lighting.
As of February, 106.4 million Gran Turismo units sold.
The Forza Horizon games are beautiful. The cars look incredible. Like there's not even the people, which, you see your avatar sometimes. They're not great. They're not like the absolute best, but they're pretty damn good for a car racing game where, the people are obviously the afterthought. But all the trees and stuff, there's no bullshit pop in. Like, you see what's coming at you from pretty far away. Like they're quality games. Like they actually do a good job putting them together. I think, at least.
The interesting part here is no matter how much any of those two series sell, they'll never outsell the Mario Kart series in raw sales.
No, never. Especially 8.
Real GOAT racing game.
I just pulled up best-selling racing games: Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart 7, Gran Turismo 4, Gran Turismo 5, Need for Speed Most Wanted, Need for Speed Underground, Gran Turismo 3, Gran Turismo Sport, Gran Turismo, Test Drive Unlimited, Mario Kart 64.
That was another. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, Forza's never going to be on that list because it was only Xbox and PC, and, you know, obviously Sony has the worldwide market.
It's because they'll never tell you how many units they've actually sold.
That too.
Because I'm looking at the list right here, right now. Franchise sales: Mario Kart 152 million, Need for Speed 150 million, Gran Turismo 85 million. This is a older article. Assetto Corsa 28 million, Driver 19 million, Midnight Club 18.5 million, Forza 16 million,
Midnight Club for not releasing in 15 years.
Burnout 15 million, Test Drive 13 million, Asphalt 10 million. That was the top 10. F-Zero in the top 15, along with Twisted Metal.
That's another one. I mean, isn't Simpsons Hit and Run essentially Twisted Metal with a Simpsons skin? That was kind of always my understanding.
I thought it was just GTA.
No, it's more GTA because Twisted Metal is car combat.
Okay.
So I do want to go back and play some of those since they're on the...
There was like a remake in the early 20s that I was hoping was on PS Plus, but it's not.
No, there's only the classics.
You're talking about Twisted Metal Black or whatever it was called.
Racist.
I wanted to check it out.
Yeah, there's no definitive proof to find anything for sales numbers for Forza because they will never talk about it.
Good on them.
Which is not a good sign, right? You know?
Yeah. And again, like you could hypothesize that it's going to be much lower just because it's Xbox exclusive.
How much better of a place would the world be if train sims were as popular as Forza and Gran Turismo?
Give
I'm
me
not trying to
some
be
bullet
rude here,
trains.
but what do you do in a train sim? Trains go forward.
Shovel coal.
You got to stop at lights sometimes. You got to maintain,
so
different
your
speeds
gameplay
through
is forward and
zones.
stop.
You use a tactical rifle to shoot the switches manually.
Hey, you're on a bullet train. You're going too fast through a stop. You got to manage your speed properly. You got to talk to the passengers, tell them everything's going to be okay. There's a lot
Take
you
tickets.
Can do. Yeah.
But in reality,
Tickets, please.
there are train simulators, and most of them are about, planning the routes and stuff.
Okay.
Logistical planning.
I would do that as well.
It's an autistic management game. That's what it is.
Speaking of autistic management games, I'm going to put this pitch out here now. We should have an autistic management game episode because I'm thinking of
There's no way I'm going to play an autistic map game.
No.
I may have a bit of the tism, but not that
We don't
much.
have to play any. We've all played them. Because I'm thinking back to my days.
Cooking Mamas.
Zoo Tycoon. Roller Coaster
Tycoon.
Tycoon.
I have played a little bit of roller
shit like
Coaster
that.
Tycoon, but
City
that was
Skylines.
long.
I think you're
just
projecting
tried to-
a little there, Mike.
Tried to make roller coasters that were
Crazy.
deadly.
Yeah.
Can
Wouldn't
we
let
get
you.
Can we get this theme park shut down?
Well, I always got the dolphins. They shit a lot. And you can't clean that tank out real quick. They're fucking dying in their own shit.
Killing the animals.
This guy making SeaWorld look like a fucking humanitarian zone.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Hey, dolphins are rapists. All right, I got nothing else. That's it on my car racing. I think we covered everything I wanted to talk about.
I think we've clearly agreed, at least as this collective, that arcade is better than sim.
Yes.
For sure.
For sure, without a doubt. And we need to bring more arcade games back.
I'm
They
with you
aren't
on
just
that.
IP grabs.
Yeah. No, I miss that, why can't we have the $35 to $40 updated?
I mean, you know the answer before you even finish that statement. They cost too much money to make and wouldn't recoup their costs.
If they did another ATV or MX ATV,
Welcome to the state of modern gaming where everything will cost more money than you're willing to accept. And then the only way to get that back is to hit a large sales total.
I'll pay $60 for MX versus ATV.
Say nostalgia is a
$60
is a driving force, but like people, it's one of those things where people say that they would love to buy a new SSX game, but then when it comes out and it's 60 plus $70,
70, 80, 90, 100.
it's
people
not
aren't gonna buy it.
People aren't going to buy it. They say they will, but they don't.
I will.
No, you're right.
It happens all the time with whatever franchises. You'll see it on Reddit where people will be like, Killzone's great. We need to bring the Killzone franchise back. Like the franchise
It
that
doesn't
sold
even have to be
17 million total.
So
Reviving a
you
franchise.
see it with like where their company's calculus is coming from, with executives like Sony being like, we need a stronger portfolio of IP. When people are like, what are you talking about? You have all these dormant IPs that people love and claim that they want to play. It's the argument that we get with Bloodborne all the time. It's the fact that everybody cries out for Bloodborne. But the fact that Bloodborne didn't sell more than how many copies? That was like
it's
8.
not like
Was it like
5-ish?
8? I was gonna say like maybe 8 million.
But I'm not
which
saying
in terms of like big IPs is not a lot. So the amount of
6 million.
what was that? I missed it. Sorry.
7.6 million.
Yeah, so it was close to 8. And to put the money and resources into remaking that, people are just not going to buy
But
it.
I'm not even talking remaking. Just make new.
No, that's what I'm.
Yeah.
You know, that's still what I'm talking about. That's the even
Remaking
greater
costs less
cost.
than making
Yeah, it's
new
even
is the
it's even
problem.
a greater cost. Yeah, it's like reviving a series just because you have the IP.
Well, but I'm saying that it's
Their whole thing is about what's a proven IP in terms of what
Sure.
is what's
But
what are. what
my
are
thing is
driving
everyone's
sales.
chasing a new Fortnite or like the new Minecraft type game when like they could be releasing these games that may be the new Fortnite in just a different different genre.
Maybe. I mean, I have one counter argument to that, and it is only one, and it's the Tony Hawk games, because they're doing 3 and 4, 4, 5, 6. I don't remember what
No,
they did.
3
1,
and
2,
4.
3.
And isn't there drama?
They just do 1 and
surround-
2?
is
1
there-
and 2, 3 and 4.
Yeah, 3 and 4. And so clearly, like, the 1 and 2 remakes sold enough that they're doing it with 3 and 4.
Isn't there some drama surrounding 3 and 4? There was something.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2, the recently released remake of the beloved PS1 era duo, has recently crossed 1 million total sales.
All right. So that was enough, though. Like, they wouldn't have done it with 3 and 4 if they didn't make money.
I mean, they put off doing 3 and 4 for a long time, and I think it came back because of Tony Hawk himself in talks with Activision, more so than anything else.
Not that long. It was like 3 years ago, right? Isn't it like 22, or was it 2021? Maybe 4 years ago.
I mean,
21
we
or
know-
2.
2020.
And we know where Activision's priorities are,
5 years ago.
particularly with the purchase. I don't know. That's an interesting case. Yeah, no, I don't see any of those being revived.
I don't either. It's wishful.
I think
thinking.
we're in the era where there's going to be less franchises and less things releasing, not more things trying to be new.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's all about consolidation and
It's just
making-
too much time. Games take too much time to make, which costs too much money, which then needs them to sell too much to make that money back to warrant all of that effort.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you just have people losing their jobs, which feels worse.
Not for the executives. They get their willies off on that.
And can write it off on their taxes.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't expect burnout to come back anytime soon, Andrew.
No, I know. I've given up on it, but I just
The best you're gonna get is you're gonna get an emulated port of
Yeah.
an older game on of a retro game on your online service.
Honestly, I'll take it. Give me MX First ATV Motorsport, whatever the fuck it was called.
And maybe if they do stuff like that and they see like a huge number of people playing it, then maybe they start changing that calculus and being like, okay, what about we do a remake
fine
of
with that.
this one?
I'll play
But
an
that
emulated
just-
port.
That's just that is such a small chance of happening,
minimal.
because like people like the retro offerings, right? But like I don't think they're making crazy numbers. I don't think they're seeing
Forza.
huge player.
Not enough.
Is that your sign off as well?
Yeah, because I got nothing else. We talked about all the racing things we could.
Yeah,
I
get
mean,
ready.
next
Get
is
ready.
just a special episode of Andrew and I on a track racing actual cars.
Get ready to pay $100 for the next Forza game.
Oh, I'm sure. I always
Or-
buy them on sale.
It's going to increase your Game Pass subscription by 50%.
Hey man, they rolled the reciprocal tariffs back on cell phones, computers, and chips.
Not
But not
consoles.
consoles.
Oh, I know.
Not
There was
video
a
games.
lot of people who were like coping that they
Yep.
were like, well, consoles are computers.
Nope. Nope.
The one thing
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. There's a whole case that you spend multiple days on in law school called the chicken case. And it's just talking about different chickens and it's the same argument as the consoles being a computer. Nope. They ain't computers, buddy. Sorry, video
That
gamers.
also explicitly doesn't count disc manufacturing, which means
one-
any physical discs.
one
are
thing
gonna be-
I've seen, the one thing is that it potentially could affect Nintendo cartridges because they potentially fall under SSDs. It's their solid state storage. That's the one potential thing. You know, is Nintendo still? No, fuck no. They're still going to charge you $80 for Mario Kart. All right, folks. So
and it will still sell 50 to 60 million copies lifetime.
Busters.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Mike, for leading this episode. Next week we are
Talking about
We're
an
talking-
episode that
Jockey.
might make me kill
Chicken
myself.
jockey.
If
Yep.
I'm not on the episode, you know what happened.
Matt and I
you'll
are
be fine.
going to see the Minecraft movie after we are done recording here. Andrew already saw it. Mike, have you seen it yet? Or
Oh, yeah. I got to go see.
make time this week. We are broadening our brains so we can help spread the mind virus to all of you. Yeah, we'll be talking about the Minecraft movie next week.
You'll be yearning for the mines.
I'm really appreciating that we're doing this right as I'm starting my extra commute as a safety officer to a site for the next 6 weeks. I'm definitely going to take this out on the subcontractors tomorrow.
He's just gonna he's just gonna be saying all the trigger phrases as he on his commute to work. He's just gonna be saying chicken jockey, flint and steel, I am Steve.
I'm going to be looking at every tree I drive by and thinking I could just drive into it.
In a video game.
No,
Yeah.
in reality.
So we'll see. We'll see if Matt is still around with us for the next episode next week. Till then, you can support us by following us on all the social medias: Campaign Comrades, CampCon Pod.
Except for X Twitter.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, we've written it off.
You always say all the social medias, but you know it's not true.
Well, it wouldn't even be true because we're not on all of the social medias. We're not on the China, TikTok.
We technically are.
Okay, never mind.
It does nothing. It does absolutely nothing for us. YouTube's been doing pretty well.
No, I'm not talking about TikTok. I was talking about the other.
Redbook?
Yeah,
Redbook?
yeah.
Oh,
I didn't know the name of it.
we're not on
The thing that
Redbook.
all of the addicts were immediately jumping to
Yeah.
for the 12 hours that TikTok was banned.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're not on Redbook. We're not on
RedTube?
Snapchat. RedTube, though,
Maybe.
yeah.
Maybe.
The
You have to look for
exclusive.
yourself.
That link could
The,
be
yeah, I don't. Andrew, we were talking the other night. Maybe we'll try to get a short little video on
Yeah.
Split Fiction out sometime this
Yeah.
week as well. Since we
Agreed.
just finished that and we had a good time. Final level of that, completely bonkers.
Insane. Insane.
You,
I
you
don't know how
didn't
they
play
did
the
it.
secret level that gets you invited out to the studio.
Yeah, so maybe be on the lookout for that. Until next time, thanks so much. We'll see you. Bye bye.